In many cultures, in the black culture, we are taught that our children are our property and not little humans with feelings.
So an example of that, you are to be seen and not heard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And we taught
And
that.
Yeah.
We taught that they're our property. And I'm not saying that it's directly, but from what we've seen and what we've heard, we're taught that they're our property. Do as I say, not as I do, and all that jazz and different things like that. And then you know, they little mini versions of you, and you can't see it because you're looking in the mirror.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you don't want to see it because you know you're looking in the mirror.
You know, one of the things I want to bring up
good.
is because, you know, my area is allowing, you know, is working with the fathers, right, and making sure that the fathers show up right. So I wonder, it's important for me to bring this part up, is that statistics, right? I can show you a lot of statistics that shows when a father is not involved. And it's crazy that even the statistics is worse if a father is not involved versus if a mom is not involved, right? A mom can not be involved and, you know, it's not healthy, right? But statistics show that children have a much difficult time excelling, right? And so, number one, I want you to know that you should not feel guilty if dad does not want to be involved. That's not on you.
At no point is it on you.
It's not
ever.
on you.
Yeah.
Even with the data. So I bring the data, I make that statement, but I go further with this part, is that I don't want you to make a decision to let dad in if it's going to cause trauma and if he's putting his hands on you and it's causing more conflict. It needs to have boundaries. We want him to be involved. I want dad to be involved. That's why we call it involved dad. But I am encouraging you to establish boundaries when he does show up. Cole, you said something to me in the car.
Yep.
Could you expound on it?
Yep, I'm a firm believer that one of the best things that we can do for fathers who may not have all the skills, right? And they haven't had all of the work and the opportunities and the resources. But what we can do is keep a door and a window cracked open for him. Because one day he might come in, one day he might, but if the door is constantly shut and the window is constantly shut and he's already vulnerable in terms of not feeling confident in his role, then he will believe that he can't show up at all. And then what he will start to do is not show up because he believes that he can't do it anyway. And I think another perfect example of that is what we see happening in hospitals when fathers try to hold their children and they don't hold them right. What's the first thing people do? Give me back my baby. In that first stage, he is vulnerable, he is worried, he's got all the feelings too, but he got to mask it. But if he doesn't feel confident and we don't nurture him through that process, then it becomes challenging. So I think it's so important to keep the door cracked open and a window cracked for him because some dads do turn it around, you know, and so we have to hold space for that. As challenging as it might be, there's some dads that really, actually, truly turn it around.
And you know, I just wanted him to say that because I do see an influx. Let's just keep it 100, man. I do see an influx of men who batter, right? And a lot of it goes undocumented, right? You know, victims or survivors don't share it, right? And so I just want to save space, you know, for you as women, is that when you do allow dad to come back, is that you have to have parameters. You need to have guidelines. And I'm specifically talking to those who have been absent and then they want to reappear, right? As those are the ones that you just have to make sure that you have, because you don't want your child to be re-traumatized, and I'm not saying it for you to be the gatekeeper and say, well, you know, I make the rules.
Yeah.
You know, I just want you to, because, you know, at the end of the day, honestly, you guys do have power, right? You do have power. You know, you have the ability to say if you can see your child or not. And so my thing is just use what you have with wisdom, right? And keeping your child, keeping your son, your daughter at the center of it all.